Your name and then your position. Yes? Mr. Taylor, yes?
Yes, my name is Yusuf.
Yes, can you get up?
My name is Yusuf Taylor, since I'm holding this.
Okay.
My name is Yusuf Taylor from Ghana News. I have two questions. Please, so they can hear.
Attention, please, so that we can hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Your question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. My name is Yusuf Taylor from Ghana News. I have just two questions which I wanted to ask. The first being, you made mention about economy not being a cause for occupation. And we hear what the president has said of late, that he is more powerful than the previous regime because he has economy behind him. Now, what is PDOIS stance about this very vote at the committee level? The situation is the latter. Why not pursue legal actions on this matter, costing us taxpayers over 500 million Gambian dollars?
Well, thank you very much. I think I will start with your last question and then come to the second. I think maybe those committees, when they sit, it is mentioned that the chairperson can have a publish one of the standing orders. It's a committee of its own. It's a committee of the whole National Assembly. And what it says on the 46, which the young man refused to read, that is standing order 46.3, it says that if upon any division, the votes of members are equally divided, the motion shall be correct. That's it. And as long as you are criticizing that, what is the problem? We all know that ECOMI is not here for a political vote. ECOMI is here because of the type of change that occurred. You were not sure of the position of the Gambian security forces. Therefore, you have to have a sub-regional force to back all the relations with other neighboring countries. Even though the troops were in the street, we did not see Gambia as the type of threat that allow us to be intimidated. So I believe that Gambia has passed that stage, the media passed that stage, every Gambian has passed that stage. So he is free to say what he wants, but Gambians have power.
Agreement in 2016 that the president should step down after 3 years to lay the foundation for, a better political dispensation. And we also know that, of course, the president is backed by the Constitution to continue with the 5-year mandate, But in an instance where the president refused to step down after the 3-year agreement that you people have, what is the PDOIS going to do? What is going to be your next step? And again, as a coalition, have you started discussions to engage the president, to notify him that he should start preparing to step down, because that is the agreement you people have? What is it? What is the stage as we speak?
Yes, our Congress is one thing, and we have already taken a position as a Congress. But as a person, I can give you an opinion in which agencies for sustainable had a meeting, and they started debating whether we should have independent National Assembly members or party National Assembly members. That's when I receded into the background. When they talk, I just listen to them. And when they decide, I don't participate. You see, I know when to participate in a process and when not to participate in. And you spoke about the issue of statement, and the proposals did appear before the whole committee, accepted, did not continue to belabor on. As far as we are concerned, this was a very good agreement. What's the reality? Do you believe the same today? Is there any Gambian who believes that he cannot bring about or she cannot bring about change through the ballot box? No. So that is the change. Embrace that change. You are a new Gambian. What you make that new Gambian to be is what will determine the future. So yes, let's look at what we agree, failures, etc. You judge people whether they honor their agreement or dishonor. Well, those are issues that we can raise and debate about. But what we
helping the opposition to get together to form a united front and concept But don't you think that it was a strategic blunder for the party leadership to decline taking cabinet post? The other question is with regard to your Congress. I must admit that when I saw the group of four taking the president, I told myself that, all that is still controlling the party. Sao this year, Soibu, Pa Samba Jawkas, sympathizer with an uncompromising stance on democracy and human rights. So when are you going to allow those people to take the money at least?
Yes, first question. Was it a strategic blunder not to accept ministerial posts? Maybe I'm alone now in that view. I think that most views concord that what we did was not only strategically correct, but it has been proven to be correct in terms of practice. Strategically, DOI aimed. Why would we support Honorable Ahmad Ba to be a presidential candidate in 2011? Do we share the same values, views, and opinions? So essentially, DOI was moving towards regime change, regardless of who occupies that office. We had moved state by state because we never wanted to take a gun to remove a government from office and sit in that place. Otherwise, we would have accepted ministerial posts after the coup d'etat and coup d'etat to serve our interests. But we know that you cannot cheat this. What we are calling for is the sovereignty of the Gambia. We said the first phase of national liberation is the sovereignty of the republic. The second phase is the sovereignty of the people. You cannot bypass that. You cannot do so by force. You can only do so by enlightenment. So that is DOI. Please accept that they can bring about change through the ballot box. We have to do that end. So the tactic was to ensure regime change. And when we achieved that, for us, we were satisfied. Now, how to run Gambia? We felt that we can participate in it by being in the National Assembly, by analyzing policies, by promoting laws. So what can you do in a nation without enacting laws and promoting policies? So we believe that we can do something more effectively than being part of cabinet. And you are part of cabinet. If you don't sing the right tune, you will not be there. So essentially, I think our decision was very strategic. Now, in terms of old guards and new guards, and that really is not the issue for them. What you should bear in mind is no person that we call old guard wants to be really here. DOI was not a party. DOI was a national liberation movement. DOI was struggling against forces which will not allow you or somebody else, to go and remove them through the ballot box. Therefore, many people who associated with DOI, some stood for election. We counted 56 people who stood for election. And most of them are now in the diaspora because it took long years before the party could come to office because the battle was rough. Honorable Omar Ture lost his life during the coup of 1994. We thought that we were going to be eliminated when we were arrested. So we had to send him abroad. At least to continue the legacy of the parties should be disappear. So this has been a national liberation movement, fighting witchcrafts and God knows what. So essentially, who would want to put oneself in such a position? So those who have been doing this did so out of necessity. It's a voluntary process. Nobody paid for you for this service. But you take and give to the service. So in short, now that we have achieved, we said it in the Congress, now that we have achieved what we have set out to achieve, to liberate the Gambia, to be a sovereign person, the party must now grow up and build up and take charge of its destiny. So you saw all the young people who were there. How many people were in that Congress? Who were young people? Go and check the video again. it was a congress of women and young people. I think those who are above 60 were very few. You know, so essentially, that's how you identify a party that is growing. If those who were 60 were, you know, everywhere, then if you have an election, you know, it's a different situation. So essentially, then, what people must recognize is that we did not have a Congress for election. That comes next year, 2019. I mean this year, 2019, because it's a 4-year term from 2015. And we were mandated in 2015, to ensure that we bring about the change. And I think we did. And clearly, to tell you the truth, you know, we are relieved that in our lifetime, the Gambian people own themselves. So please, young people should no longer ask whether somebody is giving them permission, you know, to lead. Now, power is in their hands. If it is the party, it's in their hands. We'll be holding congresses, and essentially, the people will take charge of their destiny. So the history should be said in the way that it should be said. That few people, despite all the odds, gave all their lives, ready to even die, so that others could be free. That is our history. Nobody should pit us against you, because we've never had that problem, and we never have that.
So your name and your institution. Later, that woman.
Young Ngayel for industry. Yes, my question will go to Honorable Senior Jack. Following the National Assembly, we have seen or had National Assembly members say over 60% of the land that were used last year, we aren't used this year for farming due to lack of seed and farm implements. Being the chairperson of the DOI, what do you have when people give the mantle for this?
I'm not getting your question clearly.
But I remember for Daniel Gure, he said you can confirm to the National Assembly that over 60 to 70% of the land in Sierra we are ready to use this year for farming. Also, another member for Ilias said he toured around North Bank and Sierra and to visit farmers. And those people are complaining that they don't have farm implement, they don't have seed. That's why this year the farming wasn't good. So, as the chairman of the party, what do you have for this?
Your question was answered by him. You want me to repeat the same answer?
Yes.
When he talks about cooperatives, you need to cooperate. You know, cooperative back. To be providing inputs for the farming community. And providing also possibility of marketing their produce. Providing also the possibility of transforming what they produce into something else rather than exporting it raw cheaper. This he provided that. That's fundamental. We don't need the fundamental policy of the party. So I refer you to our manifesto. Everything is clearly. Ngayel Sanjal. Okay, sister. Your name and institution.
My name is Tracy from West Coast Radio. To ask, how would you gauge democratization here in the Gambia?
Well, democratization is founded on the sovereign person. And then you build instruments like laws and build institutions, and then you practice. We engage each other. I must say that there have been a lot of shortcomings in movement forward towards the ideal, which led to even blood being spilled in demonstrations. Clearly, that is the fundamental pillar of democracy. The next phase is to prevent democracy from becoming more justice, for democracy to become an oligarchy, for democracy to yield a monarchy, and all that is possible through a voting process. because democracy becomes mob democracy if you say, we are the majority, so we will determine something by the majority, we don't care, you attack people. It's just like when you say, a thief, everybody comes and beat the person to death without even asking the question, is he the person who really stole? So essentially, that mob consciousness must be fought, so that people will not group themselves into religious groups or ethno-linguistic groups or sectionalist groups and empower themselves to say, let us impose our mind on others. Well, that will not lead to democracy. And it's the same thing, an individual coming to a point where you assume all the might of the state and use it and abuse it, that will not lead to democracy. And not a group of people doing the same. So, in short, I believe we have a good state that the citizenry should now be aware that power belongs to them.
Your name and
I am Senabuba from Sentience VIP magazine. You said that the president is an executive president and has the power to fire and hire officials. But then that question remains unanswered still, because the president, in spite of him being, despite being a coalition-led government.
Yes, I think we must understand what is an ideal and what is reality. Many people were in fact insisting that stay there with the president, you'll be able to influence him, you'll be able to guide him. And what I told most people is that you cannot have two presidents in a country. If one pretends to be a president, eventually he or she will become a shadow, to know that the real president will stand. So an executive president is what the Constitution prescribes. Unless we reform it and amend it, you have an executive president who can fire and hire. And it is left to the person to exercise it. Now, if the president had agreed to abide by a gentle person's agreement, then obviously that will not happen. But with all indications, it does not appear that the president is adhering to that. And therefore, the reality of the Constitution then stands.
What's your name and
Okay, I am Mohamed El Bouyon from Gom Digital FM. Okay, during your speech, I heard you saying a lot of millions were spent in debt, and currently the Gambian government, the present government, is carrying over 56.
I told you, ignorance of the to perpetuate that it is the person who did the wrong thing. I have said here that what they did was wrong. They should not have done it. They should not have even participated in the process. The process was flawed. That's what I said. Now, in terms of what the president is doing, you said he's gone to using this amount of money. So what do you want me to do?
As a National Assembly member.
So what do you want me to do?
Not
what I'm doing in the National Assembly, exposing everything that is wrong?
Yes, that's what we expect.
But what am I doing? That's precisely what I'm doing in the National Assembly. We're exposing everything that is wrong. You've heard me how I analyze the bill. So the essence here is you people must also be fair. That when you are examining what the person is doing, follow what the person is doing. Some are not even following what is happening in the National Assembly. You should attend the National Assembly and see what is being said and done. Now, in terms of appropriation, you've seen that 29 million was even rejected. Did that even go in the National? So
the charter flight.
Whatever. I'm simply saying that that was the charter flight. That did not pass the National Assembly.
It doesn't pass.
And you are not following. So it is important that before you just throw things, follow who said what and who supported what. Now, somebody saying somebody should resign. So you want me to follow that person and say the person to be a tail of that person. And the whole process I said is flawed. You are not seeing that I'm indicting all of them. and did not participate in their process. You are now indicting me that somebody said something and I should have followed. But if you have your own opinion, hold them. But I am behaving in a manner that I can defend. In terms of what you were saying, expenditure, etc. Go back to my intervention. No. My pledges when I was a presidential candidate. That's precisely what I told the people. That in terms of even foreign gifts, that if we run a government, that should be declared and should not be made a property of an individual. That's in the pledge. I've shown what they were spending on national aircraft. So essentially, whatever is spent, whatever is in the budget, we are going, that's what we are here for. We've told you, we'll be holding press conference. These are the things that we are going to take up and expose. So that people will know that these are the things that are happening, and that if they want a future government, they must have something to do.
Thank you very much. Your name and institution. Honorable, my name is Ngayel Sanjal, but I'm called I work for Tango, but I'm representing civil society gender platform here. My question is, democracy itself is very complex. Considering the representation of women in both three organs of government, we are inadequately represented. And we would like to know, because we've been following the Congress of both parties, both political parties, that has just been done. Now, my question is, will we see a gender representative executive body and all the other organs? Because we've made research and we saw that it's the selection committees that are an obstacle for most women to contest elections. Another question that I would like to throw to you as a National Assembly member is, the Gambia is going through constitutional review. And there are some suggestions that are made concerning women representation. A committee has to be taken for women representation. Will it, as the legislative body and representing the people, if it arrives on your table, what will be your stand?
Thank you very much. As far as men is concerned, we have regional representation, male, female, in the Central Committee. Because of the dispensation which existed, that we were focusing on coalition building. And we'll be inviting you to our activities so that you will not rely on our words. You will see in practice how DOI asks the equality.
Legislation concerning women representation comes to the National Assembly.
If yes, what will be the policies?
So coalitions are just instruments. Parties do not say, well, I'll join or I'll not join the coalition. Coalitions are instruments that are dictated by necessity. The coalition which took place on the 2nd of, that participated in the 1st December election was
in short, to bring up new leadership, not only across all the other parties as well. Two is that with regard to Halifa, this one is for Halifa. I was one instrumental figure in the formation of the coalition 2016. And then he has believed, as we observed, he has believed.
Tomorrow has not been the reason why we formed a coalition. I was a contestant. I was not selected. I'm saying that he really made himself to offer, and others took. And even the issue that we were mentioning, that 3 years, and what you've asked, Celia, I've already answered for you. I have told you how long have yourself to lead your country. There is no obstruction on our part. In fact, left to me alone, I would resign. But I'm not a criminal. I will not betray my country. But there are certain times when I will just feel like time to rest. You understand? So the situation, this is a voluntary work. It's night and day, it's sleepless nights of writing going to take over the country. And of course they have to fight those people who can keep going on track, so that they can derail the process. We know that. But what is important is anybody who's a careful observer, you will see that nobody in the DOI leadership is interested in staying in that leadership. It is a necessity. When the necessity disappears, we'll be very happy to see that the country is moving forward.
You see, how did the party join? How? That's the fundamental question. When you think of why is this man going to write? How did he imagine in the first place? It is people who decided to sacrifice, give up everything, because they have a vision and a mission to accomplish in their lives. They forwent everything. They don't want nice cars, nice buildings, many women, and all the rest of it. They saw, when they graduated from university, they came back, they saw that what they have done cannot be put into practice unless there is a transformation. So they decided to leave it, and decided to create a possibility of changing that situation. Do you know how much Halifa was earning from the party before he became an MP? $200 he said month. He said he wanted to pay $200. How many of you would be prepared to pay $200? Where are they today? So the difficulty is, I cannot go into the street and say, please come and join me, so that you take over from me. You have to see the need for that. You, Mr. Sanjal, for example, if you saw the need to take over from me, why not come over? Why not come and work with me? Why not come and say, let us share your functions? Million times, why haven't you accepted this position? He answered your question. Barrow was not a party leader. He was not. He was a coalition candidate. Therefore, the authority resided in the coalition, not in an individual. Yes. If the individual allocated that authority to himself, you wanted me to surrender to that authority? No. And you keep on asking, you are very unfair to us. That's why I always have problems with journalists. Sometimes they are the answers to their questions. I can still ask you.
No, as a journalist, you ask questions for yourself. You ask a question for the public. Because that's what you stand for. Our role is to ask questions for the public interest.
And it is important.
Doesn't mean that I represent that concept. No.
No, but
you ask for the public.
It's important also. Before you say something, you must know something. You see, many people wrote about our Congress. They never went there. But they decided to write what they wrote. That is unfair, because I read in a particular newspaper that he was unanimously elected as Secretary General, and I as Deputy. There was no election. That is in the forefront of the newspaper. Because I was sure that journalists never went to the Congress. He decided to write what he wanted. That is misinformation.
Well, I think you've answered your question maybe in the wrong way.
This long before you start or before you begin to advocate for system change. My other question is, some people have raised concerns about the secularity status or the secularity state of the country.
And I was quiet for a long period of time because people wanted to use me as a scapegoat. They want me to speak for them instead of speaking for themselves. And then when I speak, they misinterpret what I say. So for a while, I had to just disappear from the Gambia is already a secular state. The 1997 Constitution, go and read Section 1. He said that you should not have a state based on religion in the Gambia. That's what the Constitution says. Yeah. So, and Gambia is a secular state because look at how people dress. You call it a state based on religion. You look at your television. What type of under the Constitution, Sharia only applies inheritance, marriage, divorce. So it has, but it does not exist as far as the state is concerned. And when you look at the Constitution, that whatever you see and you need rectification, it should be done. And that's how the media exists with this society. And then come back to raise the question and say, this is voted for, that is this, is helping somebody to carry out fraud, defraud the state, etc. Then the dialogue will continue.
To engage into transnational justice process. The process could be problematic.
Show their experience. And you see that you believe in the way those people believe when power was in their hands. The tendency is that you may decide to really change your ways. All that is possible. So my thinking is that the process is a good process. And we should support it, we should encourage it. Those who manage it should just be careful more and more, not to prejudge, and not to pass sentences before the process takes place. I think helping the people to have faith in it and supporting it is the best way to move forward.
Okay, just a follow-up question. There is this issue of long-standing tribal. My question is, there is this issue of tribal politics, tribal partisanship, as my colleague mentioned. Now, as a politician, how can you use your influence to detribalize politics?
I think what we have said right here is that it's not for us to dictate to people how they express their power. But it is for us to help. It will not come one day. We must just work hard. Those who are already that way, stick to it and help others to be like you. I think that is the task. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, the person is saying that Taylor has said that the person voted. I cannot say who actually voted. I know a DOI person who actually stood and defended. That I had. And I responded and made clarification. To me, that should show you that DOI are not as people.
No, sorry, can I have a voting right? And if you do not
During the process, they were asking who voted for. Can I just explain? Some who raised their hands, they said who voted against, some raised their hands. They said who abstained, others raised their hands. They did all that. Abstention, they raised their hands. I could not participate in that process. You should have been there. You see, this is not reality. You see, what people do vote in a given way you want.
Abstention is refusing to vote.
No. That is the clarification. It's there in the standing order. It is saying that when there is a division, the clerk will call each person's name and you will declare whether you are for the ayes or the noes, or that you will not participate in the process. Well, that will amount to not participation. Abstention is also there.
No.
I'm saying the division, when there is no, when there is equality in the division, then the vote falls. So the issue of the speaker adding and somebody else not adding does not arise. Because that should not have happened in the first place. Whenever you have equality of votes in a division, the voting is lost. That is the, I've read that for you, 46.3. Huh? Standing order 46.3 says that if there is equality of vote, then the vote is lost. You understand? That is the position.
Are you clear now? So anyways, what's your name again?
Mohammed El Boyan, home media director. Okay, my question will go to the chairman of the party. PDOIS or DOI have been in this country. Okay, the chairperson. Okay. The PDOIS have been in this country for many years now. And just of the recent GDC of Mama Kane came in and they have more seats than DOI in the National Assembly and the local councillors. Is it time for DOI to make a new plans or take a new part in politics? Or will they be the same DOI?
Okay. Otherwise,
We'll call you.
Your question is very interesting. I believe you will say the same thing. But what we have to look at is, if A wins in an election and B loses in an election, I think you have to analyze the situation. Why has A won and why has B lost? You know the history of DOI and you know the history of CDC. DOI came to help liberate the Gambian people. And you cannot do that unless you empower the Gambian people. We are not engaged in politics of deception. We don't bribe anybody and we don't deceive anybody. We don't make promises to anybody. Because he said in his presentation that you and I are all equally sovereign. And if I come to you and give you 100 and say, cast your vote with me, and you accept it, you are negating your sovereignty. You are not accepting the fact that you are equal to me as a citizen. You see yourself as inferior to me, and I'm seeing you leaving what if.
They will never change.
Can I add to that?
Okay, yeah.
1994, we were offered ministerial posts.
Are you?
Yeah. Why didn't we take the ministerial post and then accumulate all the resources that was needed in order to build DOI? Closer to Barrow and said, let's work together as a team. And then you assist, you know the influence Halifa Sallah. You know what I controlled during that period? And all the people who were here, rich people, etc. If Halifa Sallah just wanted money, what would have happened at that time?
You were the second most powerful man.
No, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying that, people have to look at situations objectively. That if DOI just wanted to position itself to be able to win more seats, etc., then the opportunity was there. So if we don't have the opportunity, then you say, well, yes, you have no choice. But we had many opportunities to do what others have done, to be able to position themselves in the politics of the country. But we did not exploit those opportunities. You understand? Now, compare DOI to PPP, which was the founding party of this country today. So you feel that DOI is weak. But the PPP was the parent party. born in 1959, where is 1986? But where is PPP today? Where is NCP that was the strongest opposition party? And how many votes did Sirif Liba have when he stood in the 2001 presidential election? He had one vote in Janjapur. It means that even the two polling agents, only one voted for him. Is Sirif Liba unpopular?
But you know, Sirif...
No, I'm saying, is he unpopular? Of course he is not unpopular. Anybody who knew Sirif Liba knew that he had real clout in this country. But the circumstances led people to abandon him because they did not want to lose the majority that they thought they had by supporting the particular party. So votes that parties have are very circumstantial. So you do not judge the value of a party on the basis of the number of votes that it has at the given table. That would be a wrong judgment.
Okay. So Vanderi, announce yours.
I'm just asking, Madam Chair and Tian, for those of us that are interested in the local language version.
Yes, you can go ahead.
I and two other colleagues out want a total overview of what has been said here, especially about the Congress and some of the recommendations made and some of the annotations on the local language. So would it be possible that we can get Halifa maybe after
afterwards?
the
Yes,
official?
sure.
Yes.
You can do that.
Anytime, anywhere.
Anytime, anywhere. Huh?
Okay, let me communicate.
Yeah, sure. So anyone of us people will call it. Now you are okay?
Yes. Question asked.
No. Do you have any other plan to be in another coalition in 2021?
Coalitions are built based on necessity. Parties are there to build themselves, but coalitions are built when necessity arises. So we do not know what is future will be tomorrow.
Okay, so now, yes. So thank you very much for your patience and the marathon.